Hey friends and family, welcome to Marcie Creates. This is Marcie. I know I'm laughing. Y'all just aren't gonna believe it. Right off the bat, I'm cracking up. Why? Because unbeknownst to you, my lovely subscribers, and if you're not, after the day I've had, you really do need to subscribe. This is take 3 of trying to do this video, and I'm not going to get into all the details, but let's just say that I got all the way through what I thought I was making a video, and I didn't hit record. Shame on me. So, yeah. And then there were a few other mishaps. So, this is number 3, take number 3. I believe in full disclosure, it is kind of funny. It's sad in a way, but it's kind of funny. But anyway, what are we going to do today? Well, for the 3rd time, I am going to be bringing you the bargain bead box from September, Misty Rose. This is the color inspiration portion of our week, where I like to take the colors from the bargain bead box. And I do have a very beautiful, if I can just get through it, you're gonna love it, color palette here that we're gonna play with. So, as we all know, we have these beautiful rose tones in the bargain bead box and copper. And I added the rest of these colors. So, we're not gonna use everything from the box today, but I did pull some things from my stash for us to use with the bargain bead box. So here is our beautiful palette. It's gorgeous. We are going to use our rose quartz pendant that came with the bargain bead box. We are going to be using the pottery beads and some of these rose quartz beads, the rhodonite beads, probably these little coppery guys with the pink. And then I pulled in some teal, some very pretty raspberry, and some mint green. And as you can see, I kind of laid it out along with this strip so you could just feast your eyes on the colors. So yeah, we have quite a few steps, but I don't think it looks like it's going to be a complicated necklace, but it's not if we break it down. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to make our really pretty focal even prettier. So how are we going to do that? Well, I'm going to add some beads to this and some wire. We are going to make a bail, and I'm going to use some of the mint green beads that we've got here. Now, I don't know if you have a subscription to the dollar bead box, but I love to get fire polish beads from them. And these are some that I got this month that are this really pretty mint green. These are 4mm fire polished oblong beads, and they are in definite keeping with our sample. And I'm just going to put this up here just for a reference. So we're going to use those with our really pretty rose, and of course pink and green always look nice together. And as you know, red, and this is a tone of red, tone of green, those are complements. So definitely in keeping with the things that we've been learning from color theory. So we're going to make a really pretty addition to the focal bead, which is gorgeous, but it could have a little bit more going on with it. It is certainly stunning by itself, but I'm just going to add a little bit more to it. And how I'm going to do that, I am going to take some 24 gauge copper wire and add some of these beads. And then we're also going to take some 20 gauge copper wire and make a bail. So the first thing we want to do is put these beads on here, and then we'll make our bail. So I'm going to take quite a bit of the 24 gauge wire. And one of the challenges I'm going to have, just again in full transparency, is I have to pull quite a bit of this, and it's going to look a little awkward because I don't want to hit the camera and give everybody headaches while I'm trying to do this. So I am getting a liberal amount of the 24 gauge wire, and by liberal I mean probably a yard maybe, and we may not use it all, but I don't want to run out. And what we're going to do is we're going to do some wraps this way with the wire, and then at the very end we're going to attach these beads on the top. So you're going to have like a stripe of copper. It's going to have some texture because you're going to see all the lines, and then we're going to have these beads, and then later we'll make the bail. So for starters, you want to anchor your wire, and this is a very thin gauge, the 24 gauge. And actually, let me do it this way. The ends can be problematic. So what I'm going to do, also you can poke yourself. I just poked myself. Oh, and by the way, if you're using a lot of wire and you have a lot of little shards, be very careful. Make sure you sweep those up gently, because I had one stuck in my thumb last week, and that did not feel good, let me tell you. Splinters are one thing, but wire embedded in your fingers is a whole nother thing. So just be careful. Anyway, I've got this halfway down here, and I'm going to be working. This is the back of the gemstone, and we're just going to wrap. And what I'm going to try to do as I'm wrapping, now one of the things also, I'm going to just hold this down with my thumb for right now, is this likes to kink up on you, and it is thin enough that you don't need to warm it, because if you warm it too much and it's thin like this, it'll snap. So you just want to gently push. And what's nice about this gemstone is you've got a nice wide opening here. Sometimes if it's a tighter opening, it's harder to do, but you're just going to gently pull your wire through your gemstone, and everything's going to go flying. And you're going to just gently make these. I'm going to move these over just so I don't fling them everywhere. And all I'm doing right now is just doing a simple straight series of wire wraps around this bottom part of the gemstone. So again, I'm just gonna push gently. You don't want kinks. It's gonna try. It's just the way wire is. You know, it could be fickle sometimes. And you're just going to keep wrapping. And this is really up to you how many wraps, how solid you want to make this focal piece. You can certainly twist it if you want. I'm going to maybe do some little squiggles at the end, but all my concern right now is just getting as many wraps around this as I can, just to add a little bit more interest to this. Now, this is a step you don't have to do, of course. You can leave the gemstone just like it is. You can make a bail and maybe hang some dangles off of it and add color that way. But I thought this would be kind of a neat way to embellish an already pretty gemstone. And I didn't want to cover all of it, of course. I wanted most of it showing. So just take your time, and you're just going to, I'm going to keep wrapping, and when I'm done, I'm going to do another one just so you can see, but you don't need to have to watch all of this, of course. It's very repetitive. When I get to the end and I'm ready to add the beads, I will come back to you so that you can see the next step. Okay, so I'm pretty happy with that amount of wire. You can always add more. I'm going to add the beads now. And I do have quite a bit of wire left, about maybe 14 inches. But for now, I'm just going to take the end of the wire and I'm going to string these beads onto this wire. I got this idea. I was making earrings this weekend with the Foxy Lady Softflex kit that we have, and I did some seed beads in the front of some shell beads, and I liked that look, so I thought I'd try it here. You do want to see how many you're going to need. I think I want one more on here. Okay, so when you're happy with how many, so we're going to have like a nice little stripe like this of the fire polish beads. So now I kind of want to anchor these. So I'm going to come back around my gemstone. And another thing just to keep in mind is that this gemstone is really highly polished, so it's super slippery. And so I've been having to keep centering this, and it's not going to be exact. It's just it's gonna move on you. So we're going for a little bit of a boho glam look. It's not going to be exact. So again, I'm pushing this, and by anchoring, I mean I'm going to go to one side of these beads that I just added, and I'm going to come back through here, and now I'm going to go on the other side of those beads, and I'm going to do that a couple more times, alternating. As you can see how that wants to kink up? You can just gently, I wouldn't warm it a lot, but just gently run your fingers over that. So now we're back on the other side. And now we're going to push our wire through here and go on the other side. Let's see if we have a little more wire to do on that other side. All right, and I think I have one more. I could do one more, so that'll be good. And anchor those really good so they're not going anywhere. So here's our back. So with this kind of gauge wire too, you want to anchor it. So I'm going to try to just find a spot where I can push this underneath a few wires. They're not super tight, so I should be able to. Again, it is going to try to kink up on you, and that's okay on the back. You just don't want it to snap, so take your time. I may come in here with, let's see, these little Xuron, I keep calling them Xuron, but it's Xuron. You can just lift one of these up, or several of them, just like this. You can come in here with your wire. All I'm trying to do is anchor it, and it may take a minute. I'm probably trying to go into too many at once. Let's snip that. Let me just get closer to where I see a spot. Thought I had it. All I'm trying to do is anchor this so it doesn't, one, unravel, and B, when I, one and B. You guys, if you knew, I mean, I couldn't believe I didn't have that camera on. Oh my word, I just couldn't believe it. I'm like, I just did a whole video and didn't do a video. Here we go. Tried and true. Let me push him through there. And you may not be able to get him all the way through. Again, that's okay. You just want to anchor it. I'm going to lift up a little. Come on. You can do it. Also, if you care about your manicure at all, wire working is not for you. I did my nails this morning and that was silly. Because wire will wreck a manicure. So I am underneath here now. So now we want to just play with, before I make this really tight, I'm just going to scooch some of this stuff. I didn't wrap it super tight, and it's pretty much impossible on something this smooth to get it super tight. But I've anchored my wire. I am going to poke that back through here. And then, just in deference to the wearer, you don't want anything to be poking out. So just run your thumb, and you want to snip it on the inside of this component where it is not going to poke the person or snag their clothing or anything like that. So you just want to get inside there, and I'm just going to push him down. Okay, but he's anchored behind all these, so it's not going to go anywhere. And then, like I said about the scraps, be careful. That really hurt last week. I was like, what did I do to my thumb? And then I realized it was a piece of wire. So just be careful. We don't think that you can get injured making jewelry, but you can. We're using tools and we're using sharp things sometimes. So, so now we have this really pretty piece, and you can come in here and do other things with it. I thought it would be kind of neat to pull them out and maybe fan them out. You can make some little designs, maybe. You could come back in with some more wire and do a little swirl. I think I'm just going to make a couple little zhuzhes like that. And now we're going to make our bail. So for the bail, we're going to need, this was 24 gauge wire. We want the bail to be more sturdy. So we're going to use 20 gauge wire. You could also use 18 gauge wire. I do not have copper in 20 gauge. 18 gauge. So I'm going to go ahead and use the 20 gauge, and I'm going to just double it up. So I'll show you what I mean by that. I'm going to make a bunch of, let's see, this is about 12 inches. I'm going to come in here with my cutters. Oh, and by the way, I bought myself some new cutters. These are also by Xuron. They're excellent. I really, really like them. I've been using these guys, and these are fine. If you have these work very well. But these, I don't know if you can see, they are kind of off-center, which seems counterintuitive to a flush cutter, but it makes a much cleaner cut. So I'm going to link these. I found these on Amazon. They're also by Xuron. And I noticed they had a few other tools too. But I love these crimpers, especially the pointy ends for getting into tight spaces. And now I've found these. So I will link those so that if you want to get some, you can get them, because I highly recommend those. So we've got our 20 gauge wire here, and we're going to make a bail. And I am going to take my bail making pliers. These are my smaller set, but I am going to use the larger hole here. And I'm just going to wrap, let's see, I'm going to come to the middle, just like that, or approximately the middle. And I'm just going to do that. And then move my pliers. I'm just going to wrap around a few times around these pliers. Just like that. I think I like that. So now you have something that looks like this. And I'm just going to twist this. Just like this. A couple times. Just so that my loop doesn't go anywhere. And then I'm going to straighten. Okay. And then I'm going to make another big loop. I might need the bigger one. Let's see. You got to think about how thick your gemstone is. That's pretty. I think I'm going to need my bigger one, this guy, because you want the wire to go around this piece right here. So I think I'm going to make that bigger, and I'm turning this because this is going to hang this way. So I'm going to make this loop perpendicular to the loop I just made. And I'm going to come up close to that, and I'm just going to wrap that around here. Of course, we don't want to close that yet because we need to put our gemstone on. Just open it up if you need to a little bit more. Make sure our loop is oriented the way we want it. And now we're just going to wrap. So let me grab my flat nose. Oops. Come back here, Mr. Bead. Yeah, it's been a comedy of errors. I thought, you know what? I'm going to do my video early today and get it all done and have it ready to go. And yeah, take 3. Oh well, live and learn. So I'm just wrapping this now with both wires, and I kind of like the way that looks. It's kind of a more textural type wrap, and you'll see what I'm going to do at the ends in a minute. But right now I just want to get these around. And the 20 gauge wire is going to be more forgiving than the 18 gauge. So actually I'm kind of glad that I'm using the 20 now that I think about it. So I'm just coming around here a few times and making sure this stays oriented. Now, with these extras, you can make those curly Q things. And I really do like those. They add a little extra. You can hide your bail if you want. So how you do that, I think I've done this before on a video. You're going to take your, if I can find them. Whoops! Avalanche. That's par for the course. An avalanche is not going to stop me. But not videotaping something. Well, you kind of have to start over. Anyway, we're going to take our round nose and we're going to make a little loop like this. And then I'm going to come in with my bent nose, or you can use flat nose, whatever you prefer. And then we're just going to make a loop. And this little technique I learned from Gem Hawks. She covers her bales with some really pretty swirls, and I like that idea. And I like just the idea of having just a little extra embellishment, I guess you could say, on the bale. And you can make as many coils as you want. If you don't want that many, you don't have to make that many. But I'm making this nice and big because I'm gonna flip that up so that it hides the hides my bail. And then I think I'm going to make another one and just hang it right down below there. So we're going to come in here and do another little loop. I think I want him a little tighter. A little misshapen, but I kind of like it. I'm going to go with it. And then you can just kind of press it with your fingers where you want it. And there is our bail. So, step 1 accomplished. Not bad. And we're going to go on to step 2. So step 2 is going to be a piece of wire that we're just going to have a gentle curve. And then we're going to do a beaded chain. And that's what all these little components are. So I'm going to take some gold wire. I don't have 18 gauge in the copper, but we're going to be covering this, so you're not really going to see too much of it. And we're going to take some of this, let's see, maybe about 8 inches or so. And we're going to cut that with our new fancy flush cutters. And this now you can hand worm because it's not going to snap. And I just want a gentle curve in this. Nothing too racy. And we're going to make a separate piece. So we're going to take this. We're going to make a separate piece out of our 20 gauge copper. So let's pull that out. And I need a little bit more of this because I'm going to be putting loops in this. You'll see what I mean in a minute. So we're putting loops in this because we're going to have some, we're going to do some dangles, a few dangles hanging down. And we're also going to need somewhere to hang this bail as well. So I am going to come in with my bail making pliers again. These are the smaller ones. And I'm going to make a series of loops. Probably didn't need quite this much wire, but I don't want to run out. So we're going to make this first center loop, just like this. You straighten that out just a little. I don't want to hit the camera, as I've said. So we have this center loop, okay, and we're going to continue to make loops. And you're going to have to eyeball the spacing. That takes a little bit of practice, but you can do it. So here is, this is going to be our center, and that's one for the side, and we're going to do another one on this side. You could get out a ruler if you want to get real technical. I don't. We're going to be covering this with some beads as well, so it's not going to be quite so obvious. So I've got 2 loops here. I want to do another loop a little further out. Again, you can measure if you want. Oops. I am just eyeballing. I like to live dangerously. All right. So here is our, yeah. So I don't need quite this much wire anymore. I'm going to cut some of this off. Do keep your scraps. You can, this is great for making a head pin or, you know, flinging more beads around like I do. Bead flinging. I think that should be an Olympic sport. I think I would win. I make jewelry and I'm a professional bead flinger. All right. So now we have our, so where am I going with this? So I'm going to be wrapping this piece to this piece. And you're like, Marcie, are you crazy? Maybe, but I'm going to do it anyway. So we're going to need the 24 gauge wire. And I thought, so I have a couple of choices here. I could make this so that there's a space, but I really just think I want to put it on top of the other. And then we're going to come in with some more beads and actually cover this. So you're not really going to see everything. So for now, we're going to just hold this to the side because we have to add our dangles. So the first thing we need to add is our beautiful focal. So how are you going to do that? Well, you're going to open these up just like this. I'll show you. You just open it like you would a jump ring. You just kind of slide it open, and we're literally just going to slide our focal piece to that middle piece. So we're going to just come in here, the idea though is, are we going to have it hanging in the right direction? We're about to find out. Actually, it really doesn't matter. Okay, so see, this is backwards. Well, we can just flip it, because everything else that's going to hang off of here is going to be chain. So we have this. So now let's talk about our dangles. And you don't have to do this stuff if you don't want to. If you like just this and you want to add some beads, then go for it. I'm going to just be a little extra with this, just because I want to be. So once we do the dangles, we're going to anchor this, and then we're going to put some beads on top of it. And that's going to be like a major focal piece. And then the rest is just making a beaded chain and using these guys. So we're going to have a dangle here and a dangle there. And I thought these leaf beads in the teal were really pretty. So I definitely want to hang these. And then I love these check kind of, I don't know, they look kind of Aztec, but those would be neat. And we do want to think about lengths. I would like for this piece here to just be maybe right there, and then these longer. So we do want to grab some more of our, I thought these would be pretty. We want to use some of our beads from our box, of course. So we've got some, pick up some of that really beautiful rose quartz and some more rhodonite. We'll grab some of that. These can be longer. And just lay these out so you can see how you want them. Maybe we'll add a few little neutral beads as well, because we do have this palette we're playing with. So maybe a few of these smaller, these guys. And let's see, we got teal, maybe a couple of little copper beads to pick up the copper, the dark copper. And maybe we'll put some here so that we have some continuity. And I think I like that. Very, very pretty. So we're gonna hang these dangles, and these we're gonna just make with, these we'll probably do with some head pins. And then this, the hole is drilled sideways through here. So we'll do some finer gauge wire to hang these. So let me grab a couple of head pins. I am going to do gold head pins for these. You're only going to see the little ball end. So we grab 2 of those. And I thought these check beads were gorgeous. I think these were, and these did come, most of the beads I'm using came from Bargain Bead Box, but just not with the Misty Rose. But that's what's so nice too, is when you have things that coordinate. So we're just going to do a simple wrap loop with our dangles. I lost some of my I don't know what equipment I'm using. I don't think I've ever not filmed. I've never made a video and not realized I wasn't filming it. There's a first time for everything. But I'm glad I decided to do it early, because if it had been 8 or 9 o'clock when I normally do them, y'all be waiting for another video, and I hated last week that I made you wait. So I'm glad I decided to do that early. So here's one. Very pretty. I like it. And we'll do the second one. It's very sad about the Queen. For those of you, any of you in Europe that, if you're in England or Australia, well, anyone in the world, I mean, everybody knows who Queen Elizabeth was. She was amazing. I lived in England for a little bit. For college, I lived with an English family, so I spent quite a bit of time in London. And, of course, my whole life, I'm in my mid-50s, she's always been the Queen. There's never been anyone else, so it was very sad. My heart goes out to everyone. Of course, I kind of got teary-eyed myself, but I'm learning some things about her. There's been a lot of stories about her and anecdotes, and so it's very interesting. She's a very amazing lady. Very amazing. So very sad, but What an amazing legacy and life she lived. And 96, that is a blessing to live that long. She has saw a lot in her life, and she left behind lots of kids and grandkids, and it's gonna be different. So that was sad though. Okay, so we're gonna make these wraps next, and I think I am gonna have to use, gosh, usually I have to use 26 gauge. Maybe I have some copper 26 gauge. I don't recall. If not, we use gold. That's bronze. We don't want that. Well, nope, that's 22 gauge. We'll use 24. So here's some more 24 gauge wire, and I'm kind of going to treat this the way I did the bail and kind of do a double. So I'm going to add our really pretty, that teal color is so pretty. Looks great with the pink. I'm going to add our teal. And I'm just going to twist. Then we'll add our other beads. I do want them to move a little. And I don't mind that you can see the wire. I'm okay with that. You can always wrap around that too if you want. I may do that. We'll see. Or maybe I'll save that for another day, because this is turning into quite the project. And are really pretty. I love these check beads with the design on them. And a copper bead from the mix. And we will make another little loop with our, I'm going to use the very tip of my round nose pliers for this. Another little double wrap. Just wrap it. I want to press those down so they don't poke anybody. Okay. And we will do the other side. Yeah, those leaf beads are really pretty. That did not want to twist. There we go. All right. So 24 or 26 gauge, you can double it up and get through your beads. Or 28 gauge. I watched somebody using 28 gauge the other day. I honestly have never used 28 gauge. Let me know in the comments if you have. I just worry that tiny of a wire, I would snap it. I just know I would. But I may have to experiment. I've even seen 30 gauge. Has anyone worked with 30 gauge? I think doing like the Viking knitting, if you've ever seen that, you can do with the 30 gauge, or like crocheting with wire. I think you have to use a really, really fine gauge for those type things. Okay. We're gonna wire wrap this one. Okay, so now we need to add our dangles, and we're going to do that the same way we added our centerpiece. You're just going to slide these. Pretty. And these guys. That's pretty. I think I want that leaf to go the other way though. Yeah. Alrighty, and then this side. So you're just opening the top of these just slightly so that you can slide these through. Like a little roller coaster for beads. Very pretty. I do love that teal. Okay, so here is our, there's our dangles, just like that. And now we're going to, actually we're going to string some beads onto here, and then we're going to attach this. So I don't want my beads to slide off of here, so I'm making a loop at the end. This is going to go away, but the only reason I'm putting it on here is so that I have a way to stop the beads from going anywhere. And we're going to decide on a way to string these. And I just want to cover this area right here. I don't, again, I'm just making, I might come maybe maybe an inch above those, but this is all going to get covered, like I said. So let's think about what we want to add. So we've got teal and we've got green. I like this bead. I don't know what kind of bead this is, but I like it. And I did already make some components with that, so we'll use some of these. I've got some fire polished beads that pick up that raspberry color in our design. I definitely want to grab more rhodonite from the mix. Excellent. And I want some more rose quartz beads. So let me just think about how I want to space these out. I think I want smaller beads on the ends. That's pretty. Maybe like that. I feel like we need a big bead in the center though. Should we do a teal? Ooh, that's fancy. I think these, now I have these pottery beads which would kind of echo those pottery beads. Let's go with the pottery since that... Do I like this color better? This is a little more uniform. All right, and maybe some... I don't know if I have any more bead caps. Oh, but this would be pretty on either side. I wonder if I have another one of those. Oh, I do. Okay. Let's see. Yeah, that would be very pretty. Okay, so we're gonna string these. And do make sure, I did check beforehand, that your wire is gonna go through your gemstones. Some gemstones are drilled really tiny, like especially pearls. And so this may not work with every gemstone you've got. So before you get your heart set on a design, make sure that you check that they're all going to fit on there. All right. That one's kind of shaped funny. Let me grab another one. And that's the other thing about gemstones, they're regular. Because even though we drilled them and we polished them, Mother Nature made them, so they do have a mind of their own sometimes. I love these raspberry fire polish beads. Those are pretty. Ooh, that's gonna be nice. This color combination is very pretty. So yeah, I went out onto Pinterest and just, you know how I do, to find color combinations, and I've been posting them a lot in our Facebook group, and I just printed that out and then went through my stash. So I literally printed this out and went through my stash to pick the colors out to go with our project. So think about that, or try that the next time you're stumped on colors. Find something, and what I did is I looked for the main color, which is this pink, and I think I put keywords like color combinations with pink, and this was one of the ones that came up. And I just printed it out and went through my stash and found the beads I thought matched closely to it, and here we are. So pretty easy to do and fun. It was really fun. It was fun to pick out the beads and figure out, you know, was this the right shade of teal or not? That was really a lot of fun. Okay, so here we are again, folks. And now we can make, I think I want to wire, do I want to wire wrap this? I think I do. I'm going to wire wrap this, make some loops, and then I'm going to wire wrap this to it, but then we're going to do other wire. Everybody's like, what? That's what we're going to do. So let's see, how do I want to do that? I want to make sure I don't run out of any. Let's do this side because I can just see those beads sliding off of there. Can't you? That can happen. We don't want it to, but it can. So I'm just making a basic loop, just like that. And I'm gonna wire wrap it. Oh, more bead flinging. What is going on? And I may abbreviate the end of this video, or I may break this up into two. We've been at it for about 40 minutes. I just don't want to outstay my welcome. And sometimes longer projects, it's better to break them up, but we'll see. We'll see how long this little part takes us. I will publish both tonight if I do break it up into two, but that way, if you need a break, you can take a break and watch number 2 later. So right now, I'm just wire wrapping our little swoopy component we've made. And let me tuck that in. This is the 18 gauge, so you do need a little more assistance with some tools to get those little ends to get tucked in. That's really pretty. I do love this color combination. And, you know, I was just thinking too, you could keep a notebook of color combinations that you like. And when you're stumped, like I think I'm going to put this in like some of those, you know, sleeves, the clear sleeves, and do like a little notebook. You could even put a picture next to the color combinations of the project that you made. So you have a little diary. That would be a cool thing to do as well. And that way you remember what you did, and especially if you sell your jewelry or you're thinking about selling it, that's a great way to remember the piece that you made. And if you want to ever duplicate it or use that color combination again, you've got it recorded. So there's another thought. And I am making this a little bit loose because we are going to do a little bit more wire wrapping. So that is something to keep in mind if you do this. All right. By the way, if you care at all about your manicure, I don't know that wire is good for it. There are some folks, I watch, I like Alicia over at Beautiful Nights. I don't know if you've ever watched her channel. She has some gorgeous fingernails. I mean, her nails always look amazing. And I don't know, I watch her make stuff. It doesn't stop her from making beautiful jewelry. I would have a hard time with nails that long making stuff, but it does not bother her in the least. And her manicure always looks great. So it is possible. It's just not possible for me. All right. So now we're gonna wire wrap this. And I just want to make sure that this is centered. Let me think how the best way to do this is going to be. Definitely don't. Engineering. I sure love to give myself a challenge. But what my idea is to hang this just like this and then anchor it with some wires. So I think the best thing to do is going to be to grab I'm going to do some 22 gauge just so it's a little sturdier. And I am going to attach that way, I think. So I've not tried this technique before. I've done wire wrapping to other pieces, but this is a little bit new, so we're gonna experiment. Uh-oh. Hey, at least I'm recording, right? At least I didn't forget to hit record this time. Oh, goodness. All right. So, I think the best course of action is to start in the center and work my way out. That way I know that it's centered. So I'm going to take this wire and I'm going to wrap it next to this large bead a few times. And then, so the large bead, we want it to be over the just like this. Well, it's not going to be, ooh, and we're going to have to go around dangles. I didn't think about that. Okay, hold your breath. We're diving in. Let's go around this way. I think the key is going to be to take our time with this, and I'm going to go around that bead. Nice thing is that the wire's warmed and pliable, so I think it's going to work. We're going to have to maybe play with it a little. All I'm trying to do is anchor this one. And I think I like starting in the middle. I think that was a good call. All right. I went around that a couple of times. So let's see where we are with this. So that's kind of cool. So now I think we need to come back this way. I'm sure there's a simpler way to do this, but I'm committed now. So we're going to see this through. Oh. Gotta watch those dangles. The nice thing is when you come back around, you can kind of position and tighten things where you want them. So I'm glad I pulled an extra, oops, I knew I was gonna hit that camera, sorry. Sorry about that. I just made everybody dizzy. That's the thing with long wire and a camera. Now I will say working around the dangles is a little bit of a challenge, but it's not impossible. As you can see, I've already done it. And now I'm going to go around this big bead, and we're going to go this way. Just be mindful of your dangles. Again, I'm not going fast. This is turning out pretty cool though. All right, we're still wrapping. Sorry, I just hit the camera again. Gotta stop that. We're wrapping. We're wrapping. And I'm gonna wrap around that a few times. So the key is make sure you got enough wire. Get a lot of wire. I hope this works. Oh, please work. It's looking pretty cool so far. I'm holding it with my hands just so I can make sure that I'm not bending anything I don't want to bend. Whoo, that's close. Okay, so I ran out of a little bit of wire, but I'm okay with that because we've got so much of it. I don't think it's going anywhere. Now let's see if we can play with, yeah. So using the different, one thing that's nice about this, the heavier beads are on a sturdier wire, and then your dangles are hanging on a lighter wire, but all of them tied together make a pretty structural, I've got one piece of wire sticking up here I need to get. Makes a nice structural component once everything is put together. Now let's make sure nothing's gonna poke anybody. Yeah, and so the little spaces between the beads are nice to tuck your wire in. So now I've got this wire here, and I think I'm gonna just wrap it maybe twice and then snip it in the back. Well, gosh, guys, I guess third time's the charm when you're making a third video. I didn't get this far with the other one, but oh man. Okay, so we're gonna snip these. I'm feeling for ends. I do feel some ends over here. Yeah, there's one. And these Xuron are so perfect for tucking those wires in. Usually you can feel them before you can see them. Yeah, there's one. All right. Whoo! Whew. That was an experiment. But look at that. Wow, I really like it. So I'm glad. Now you could just add a chain and call it a day. You really could. But I made these guys and these guys to hang. And so how did I do that? So if you have one of those looping tools, these are not wire wrapped. These are just loops. And I'm going to show you how I did it. But the looping tool, if you have one, is perfect for this type of project. But we're going to make a beaded chain. And so I made a bunch of different components in the pinks, the Dusty Rose, and the Dusty and Misty Rose, and the teals and the mint green. We can always add more stuff if we want, but my thought was the two pottery beads and then some teal this way. I'm going to move some of these out of the way just so we have some room to play with our pattern. We'll leave our our swatch up, and we'll just put these off to the side here. I just want you to see the layout. And we can always make more components if we want to make this longer, and that's, again, that's designer's choice. If you can make like this would be cool as a choker, but I'm gonna make a longer necklace with this. So anyway, going back to the layout, you can just kind of decide where you want certain components. And these just hook together basically. So like a beaded chain. So rhodonite, here are some. And the smaller beads I thought we would do at the end. So let's see. Another one of you guys. Another one of you guys. Some of these. What do we have next? Teal. And teal. Am I missing one? We'll find out when we start stringing. So basically you just open these up and you attach them. Let me show you how I made them. So I did use the 20 gauge wire. So you're gonna take your 20 gauge wire, and I just cut lengths about 1.5 inches, just like this. I just made a whole pile of these. I think I want some more, maybe light pink in there or something. So make your pile. Just like this. And once you have a whole bunch of guys like that, then you're gonna make a loop on one end. Oh, and you want to make sure that your points are flush. Get rid of any points. And again, be careful of the little ends, you know, the little pieces that come off. And you want to come in with your round nose pliers and make a loop like this. Make a P. So now you have a P. I learned this one from Neelay Patel. There's many ways to make these components. This is a Neelay. So you got your P, and you can come in again with these little, I love these. You come in and you, let me see if I can angle myself so you can see. I'm gonna come in from underneath. So you grab right where that end is touching your wire, and he calls it breaking the neck. You just twist back like that. I had never seen that before, and I love it. I had been doing it totally differently, and for me, that really worked nicely. So once you have that, then you add your bead. Let's see, I said I wanted, let me do some off-white, or actually, those would be kind of pretty. You're gonna put your bead on, and then the other side of this, like I said, if you have one of the looping tools, it does it for you, but you're gonna bend this at a 90-degree angle from your bead. I gotta hang on to that bead because it's it's saucer shaped and it's slippery, but you're gonna bend this. Actually, let me hang on to this. So bend it Ugh. Let's use a different bead. Those are not working. Looper tool is the key. Let's just, actually I do want to show you again anyway. So we'll go back to the P. I did about 100 of these without anything snapping. I just want you to know. But of course now I'm on camera, so. So here's your P. Come in, break the neck. I love that, break the neck. And then let's pick a better bead. We'll do another rhodonite. Put your bead on. You're going to bend this at a 90-degree angle. Come on. There we go. Like, come on. Okay. So a 90-degree angle. You don't need all of this, right? So this is where you kind of have to eyeball. You want at least like a 1/4 of an inch or 1/2 an inch, however big loops you want to make. You're going to cut that piece off. So you're left with that. I'm going to do this one more time for you too. You're going to come in with these round nose pliers and you're going to flip this. You're going to kind of twist it. So you're going the opposite way. Now, are your loops going to be perfect? No. That's okay. If that's too long, you can come in and trim a little piece. Like so. And then you can come back in with your round nose and make that other side of the component. And in truth, if they're close, that's good enough because you're going to be attaching these like you do with jump rings. And so as they attach to each other, you're just going to see like a beaded chain. So let me do that one more time for you. I'm going to pick a bigger bead. Let's do one of these guys. So again, oh, and make sure your sharp ends are gone. Let's get rid of him. Let me check the other side. That one's okay. All right. Again, make a P. Just like that. Take your pliers and turn it back that way, break the neck. We're going to take our bead, pop that on there, and you probably need to warm this. That's probably what I should have done in order to bend it at a 90-degree angle. That's what I was missing. That was the step I was missing, was warming it. So do warm it, 1/4 of an inch or so. Come in again with your round nose pliers, and you're going to walk this backwards. Kind of straighten it up. And again, if it's not the right size, and it won't be till you get the hang of it, come in and sniff just a little piece. And you can come in and make that a smaller loop. And if you do it again, you can. And then the other thing too, so see how my loops are going in opposite directions? You don't want that. So what you can do, and I love doing this, it's kind of fun actually. If you have bent nose pliers like these, so you take these and you grab one end, you grab the other end, and you just twist until they're going in the same direction. Just like that. And so you make a pile of these, and you have what's ready to make a beaded chain. So I'm not going to put all of these together for the sake of time. I know this video is longer, but I am going to show you how to connect them, and I will come back once they're all connected, and we will add our, I think we're going to use the toggle from the mix that we got from the bargain bead box. We're going to add those. So what you want to do, and it doesn't matter what end you are on, okay, you're going to open up your jump ring by twisting it to the side like that. You're going to add the next bead, and you're going to close that up. Oops. Actually, let me use my trusty Xurons for these. This is delicate work. And see, now they're attached. So then on the other side, you just want to do the same thing. You're gonna open up the bead. So lay out your beads, you know, the pattern you want them in. Attach your next bead. It goes pretty fast once you have them made. And you could do like a little assembly line. Get a bunch made. And just make sure these are shut nicely, and so on and so forth. So let me just add another one. But this is the start to our beaded chain. We will add another one. Just make sure that it's opened kind of at an angle. Close it back up. So before I laid these out, I made sure they were all oriented straight, like I showed you. I'm going to come over here and open this side. Add this bead. So it's pretty quick once you kind of get a rhythm going. So now you can see you've got this beaded chain. Open this one. Add your bead. And you just keep opening, adding your next bead, and closing. And you can come back through afterwards and make sure everything looks like it's shut nicely. You can come back and adjust these. But this is how you make a beaded chain. So that's going to be how we're going to connect our necklace. So I'm going to get all of these attached. We will attach it to our ends here with our loops, and then we will attach our clasp. So I will be back once all these are together to put the rest of the necklace back in some type of order that will make sense. But this turned out really neat. I'm excited about this. I'll have to play with it a little more. This is the first time I've done this. There may be some things, you know, you can come back and adjust. Maybe you just like this piece and want to hang this. That's fine too. So I'm going to go off camera, attach these, and I will be back. Wow, you guys. So I'm really loving this. I know this was a project with a capital P, but I just really, really love this. I'm going to add the, I added the chain. You can see now what the beaded chain looks like. It's so pretty. I really do love it. I'm going to add the clasp that came with the box. And then I will put this on a bust so we can take a look at it hanging, because, oh wow, I think it's going to be really spectacular hanging. And even though this was quite the project and quite the video to perform today, I'm really delighted with how I think this turned out. And I think I'm just super happy with these colors. And I am going to continue making a few things more with this box, with this colorway, because I really love it. So I'm just attaching the clasp right now that came with the mix. I am using a jump ring. And this is a really pretty component. So they did give us some really pretty things to work with this box. Now that I see all this strung together, I'm super happy with it. Oops. I'm still all thumbs though, just in case you were wondering. Still dropping stuff. Oh boy. Yeah. It was worth it though. Oh, you know what? This is pretty thick. I don't think I opened this jump ring enough. That's what it is. There we go. Oh, super pretty. Love these colors. And there's our clasp. And there's our really pretty, wow. Okay, let me get this on a bust and we will take a look at what it's like hanging. I'm excited. Well, I hope you can see this. I've been playing with my lights, but I did want to put our swatch up there of our color inspiration. And I'm very, very happy with the way this turned out. This was lengthy. You know, not any one piece was complicated altogether. It's a project. It's what I would call a stretch project. And what I mean by that is you're really stretching and using every technique that you've learned, combining them in new ways. And as you learn the techniques that I showed you today and you play with color, you really can start to make some very cool things. Not that simple is always beautiful, and this is it was a lot of steps. I wouldn't say it's complicated, but it's a lot of steps. Very labor intensive because you've got beaded chain. So here's our beaded chain. Okay, all those components don't take long to make, and they don't take long to string. And what an effect that has. Rather than just use basic chain. And it picks up all the colors that we were playing with. And then this focal piece, we brought in more of those colors. We did some wire wrapping with copper. We've got the gorgeous rose quartz with another wire wrap technique. And any of these things that I did with this necklace, you could do something simpler. You could combine them in different ways. You could, you know, take one idea and just run with it, or one of the ideas, two of the ideas, three of the ideas. Maybe you just want to do beaded chain for your next project and do a little wire technique on a gemstone like we've been doing. But I really do love that color combination. I think it turned out very nice. I am very happy with it. Even though it took a few tries on the video to get it right. That's par for the course, I guess, when you make YouTube videos. Sometimes you forget to hit record. But I am super happy with how this turned out. I hope that this makes you a little bit braver. Try something new, combine some techniques. The worst that can happen is you got to start over, right? And once you've, played around and you've figured out some stuff, the sky's the limit. And so I hope this inspires you to go into your stash, find a palette, find a fun palette. I keep, posting them on Facebook. If you're new to my channel and you're not in the Facebook group, you're more than welcome. Please join us. It's under groups, under Marcie Creates. I post just inspirational things daily. Everybody's sharing ideas with their jewelry. It's been great. I think we have about 130 people in the group now. And of course, Sundays we've been dedicated to exploring color. Tuesdays is Tutorial Tuesdays. I will probably continue with this color palette for Tuesday. Maybe we'll make some companion earrings or a bracelet. We'll see. And later on in the week, I'm going to be showing you some finished jewelry updates, as I promised previously. And so, yeah, join us. And if you have not subscribed, I'd love to have you. And if you want more inspiration, you can check out Pinterest. It's Marcie Creates Studio. And I'll have all those links in my description for you. So just another little gander. We'll just take a close-up. I'm really loving this palette. Do play with your colors. Really amazing things happen. And it's super fun to take a palette and go through your beads like that and pick stuff out and just play. So I encourage you to do that. You can use your color wheel, but if you see a photo and you have the swatches and you can print it out on a color printer, even better. I mean, we don't need to make things hard on ourselves. So maybe you have a favorite sweater. You can do the same thing. So I'm super happy with it. I hope that you like it. And I'm pretty excited. So have a great evening. I just realized too that today's 9/11. So my thoughts and prayers go to the families that lost people. It is not a day that this one to remember, but we do need to remember it. So in the spirit of that, I will say, let's just keep praying for world peace. And I hope you all take care of yourselves and your families. Be safe. I will see you on the next video. Thank you so much. And I'll see you soon.